If you're an entrepreneur, you may occasionally feel lonely. And that's why we have Marnie Swedberg, and she will tell us how you too can heal loneliness through courage, clarity, and collaboration. Marnie Swedberg embodies faith in action while generating aha moments of perspective and transformation. She is an author of 14 books, host of the #1 radio show, Marnie's Friends, mentor to millions, and host of the largest online directory of its kind in the world, Christian Women Speakers. So, Marnie, tell us about how did you discover the journey to healing loneliness through courage, clarity, and collaboration?
Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Lily, it's so great to be here, and I'm excited to talk about this because entrepreneurs, leaders of any kind, I work with so many authors and speakers and, podcasters like that. It's lonely because you are behind the scenes at your own desk most of the time, doing things that other people don't understand what you do, how you could spend so much time doing it. And so I just figured it out because that was my life, Lily. I just was there. I understand it. And it has to be solved in order for you to really move forward. So I think that this combination of courage, clarity, and collaboration is the path forward.
Thank you. Tell us more about how someone who is generally afraid can reach courage.
So I like to say about courage and clarity. Okay, so they're like a partnership. So if you have clarity, but you have no courage, you know exactly what to do, but you cannot get yourself to do it. You're just like sitting on the couch in a fetal position, going nowhere. Now, if you have courage, but you don't have clarity, you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You're not making any progress, but you're busy out there, whatever, investing in everything. So it's when we partner courage and clarity that we become like a laser beam that slices through whatever challenges are in front of us to get us to the point where we're actually making a difference in the world. So let's go back to courage then. What happens when you don't have courage? Is that you've got a plan, you've got great ideas, you've got something you want to do, but you cannot get yourself to move forward. And it is a lot like procrastination in that your mind has a battle that it's going through. Part of you wants to do this. Another part of you doesn't want to do this. And so that's what most procrastination is. So if we're looking at it, we have to say, okay, which part of my mind is stuck? How am I stuck here? And how can I go forward? So if you think of procrastination, like you're driving down the street and you're coming up to a red light and it turns yellow. I'm sorry, you're coming up to a green light, it turns yellow. And your foot does that thing on the gas and the brakes, going back and forth, like, what should I do? Should I step on the gas or should I step on the brakes? You have to make a decision right now because you're right under it. And so as long as your foot is going back and forth between the gas and the brake, nothing's happening. You have to either decide to press the gas or press the brakes, right? So what happens is when we get afraid, we're by ourselves, we have this idea, we want to go forward, but we're afraid. It's like we're just stuck there in that in-between place. And you have to give your brain enough information to let it know that it's going to be okay. And then you're going to be able to press the gas. Otherwise, what you're doing is in that pause, you're not pressing all the way on the brakes, but you're really not going forward yet. You're just in a pause.
Thank you. It's my mission to impact 100 million people, to be happier, to go after what they want, to share their stories and create wealth through books that transform the world. I'm nowhere near that goal. And a lot of it is because of lack of courage. And I would say it's because of prevalent fear of criticism, fear of rejection, fear of not delivering enough to the people that I promise something to. And I'm sure I will find hundreds of other fears. Fear of being perceived, incorrectly, fear of being judged, fear of being underappreciated for huge amount of work. What can I and people like me who have massive goals and not enough courage do to actually go further on their goals?
I love that you're so honest about that. And all of us face fears of different kinds. You'd sit down 100 people, we'd all have different fears, but they're all fears, right? And there's one definition of fear that is false evidence appearing real. That means the fear is, it's pretending to be real, but it's not real. There's another fear that's a cautionary fear. That's like you're afraid because you're standing on a train track and you start to feel it rumble. It's like, get off. And then there's another kind of fear that's just the fear of, I like to call it the fear of God, but it's the fear of just how the world is. The reality is like this. And I need to be aware of that. And I need to take that into consideration. So the fear of this is how reality is. I need to be aware of that, or the fear of getting off the train track, or, stopping before you go through a red light, those kind of fears. Those are good, healthy fears. But the fear that you can always identify is the debilitating fear. That's the one that will prevent you from moving forward. And as we become more self-aware of that, more aware of this fear is actually standing in front of me moving forward, then we can address it. And it's a simple thing to say, but just say, oh, you don't get to be here. And it's like, that's too simplistic, except that that's really what it takes, whatever it takes to get you there. I'm going to take us to an example from my life in earning money. So I was earning the same amount of money, pretty much the same amount of money for a long time. And then there came a point when I had someone teach me how to actually envision out in advance making 4 times the amount of money I was making, and then making, double that again, like that, thinking much bigger. But instead of just thinking about it or imagining it, I was supposed to write down exactly what percentage of my money went where right now, and what percentage of my money would go to which places at the 4 times level, and what percentage of the money would go to which places at the 2 times that, so 8 times level. So as I did that, I began to become so excited, Lily, about making more money. And money had just never been a thing for me. Money had never been the goal. I was in it for the service. I was in it, just to help people and to do what I loved and what I was here to do. And so what happened, though, is once I saw the value of the money going forward, and that, for example, my family income didn't have to keep pace with the additional money coming in. I could cap that off at what was comfortable for us and have all the rest of that extra income to invest into other people's, I call them missions or ministries or whatever, into orphanages, into whatever. And so it got so exciting for me to consider making more money that all of a sudden, all the fears about making money, all the things that were holding me back were gone. And I was able to quadruple the income in a very short period of time. So I think a lot of times it's the perspective that you have about the thing that's in front of you that you're trying to move forward to. You're looking at it through the lens you've always looked at it through. Therefore, it is scary or not doable or whatever. But if there can be just a shift of the perception of it, it's kind of like putting on a pair of glasses. So you maybe have, poor vision and you can't see very well. You put on a pair of glasses and it changes everything. Now you can see crystal clear. What changed about the stuff in front of you? Absolutely nothing. What changed was your perception of it. And that's where the fear, that's why I say it's saying out. It's just finding the information that your brain needs in order for you to be able to get past it.
Thank you. How can I find more courage with faith or spirituality?
Yeah, I love that one so much. I love to camp here a lot. And I think once we know that there's something bigger than ourselves, that we're not the end all, then we can kind of relax into that. And how I compare it is to the Brooklyn Bridge. When they were building that bridge, they kept losing men to their death, and because they would fall off and die. And so they were building. They got so far behind on the building of it that it was hopeless. They were behind. The budget was way over. They couldn't see how they could get it done. Somebody suggested putting a huge net underneath the workers so that if they would happen to fall, they wouldn't fall to their death. And that's what they did. They invested in a huge net system, and people did still fall, but they didn't die. They just crawled back up and kept going. They were able to complete the bridge for one reason, because there was a safety net underneath there. And so they were able to actually fully engage in the work that they were doing instead of being almost paralyzed by fear. So when we say, how can I get the courage that I need? Faith is a big one. Like for me, I know that no matter how many times I fail or whatever, God's got my back. I know that for sure, no doubt. So I think that faith has a huge part of it. And if you're believing that it's all you, then that's a lot of faith to put on your shoulders. It's a heavy burden to bear, actually, to be the end all and be all of everything, to be your own God, basically. And it does really simplify matters and bring a lot of peace to have a real God that's there for you.
Thank you. How can I find more courage if I'm very ill?
If you're ill, yeah. So I feel like there's I have to speak just from my own perspective. So I'm someone that just loves God, and so I go to the Bible a lot for instruction. And a lot of people use other books for instruction. I use the Bible a lot for instruction, and so I just go to Romans chapter 6, where it says, "The mindset on the flesh is hostile toward God. The mindset on the spirit is life and peace." Now, if I was going to translate that into like a lay person's thing, when I was delivering my babies, I had long labors and I didn't use any drugs. And what I did to take my mind off of the pain of the delivery was I put my mind onto something beautiful. So I believe that that's a biblical principle that was there from the beginning of time. And I believe it still works, whether you know God or not. When we focus on pain, when we focus on what's wrong, when we focus on the lack of something, then we are miserable. Basically, I'm just going to say it. When we focus on things that are beautiful, that are whole, that are good, that are lovely, that are loving, that are healthy, we experience, it says in that verse, life and peace. We experience something that wouldn't be possible in the same situation, focusing on the pain. So I was just recently, this was very short term, but I had a flu that lasted for 9 days. I mean, I was out. This was one of those horrible flus that were going around this year. And I was so down. And I had just learned the definition of satisfaction based on that verse, which is there is an action that leads to feeling satisfied every time. And it's taking the mind off of the pain and putting it onto something higher, something that's true, but that's higher, that's good, that's lovely, and that's admirable. So that's what I did when I had that flu. And I was so sick, so sick, but I was able to just really experience a lot of joy and a lot of patience and contentment through it. And when I got back online, I was able to pick up my responsibilities again. It was fine. I had to play catch up and, make it up to people who I had let down. But the reality is all these things are going to happen. We're going to hit seasons of physical, financial, relational illness where we're going through something that's very painful for us. And you can go through it and be miserable all the way through it, or you can go through it and know that you're going through it. I mean, it's not like you don't feel the pain, you still feel the pain, but it has a totally different effect when the mind is not focused on the pain. The mind is focused off of the pain onto something else that's lovely.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs find clarity when either they have no idea what to do or they have too many options and they don't know which direction to take?
I love that. And I spend a lot of time working with people on mission vision, because once you understand your mission and vision statements for yourself, and then you can also do this for your business, have a separate one for your business. But once you understand what your mission and vision are, that's going to really help you to get very clear about what you say yes to, what you say no to, and how you proceed. So I think the biggest challenge, there's two biggest challenges in my mind for entrepreneurs. First of all, it's chasing every idea. That's not going to work. You're going to have to narrow it down. And if you think of it like the analogy of a radio You cannot listen to all the channels at once. It's just chaos if you try to do that. It wouldn't work. So you have to narrow it down and you have to say, this is the channel I'm going to stick with. This is where I'm going. And then the second thing that I think people really mess up is instead of being truly who you are, you try to be somebody else. You try to do it like somebody else. And I teach the shadow method. So I'm all for finding someone who's ahead of you on the journey that you can learn from, kind of walk in their shadow, just rest in their shadow a little bit, watch what they're doing and learn from them. But don't ever try to be someone else. I use the acronym BUSY, BUSY, best unique strategies for you. Because if you try to do it exactly like somebody else, it's not going to work out for you. You have to find the path that is right for you.
Thank you. What process should entrepreneurs take to find their own path? Is it something where they have to connect with their faith? Is it how should they discover what's for them and what's not for other people?
Yeah. So again, mission vision training, I think that is the key. I've got some at Marnie.com. You can do the Path by Laura Jones. There's other things out there. You want to actually spend some time just sitting quietly, answering some questions. That it's incredible when you actually take the time to look into your, if you want to say your heart, or look deep inside of yourself, you'll find that it's really clear. You aren't confused about what your passion is, like what your mission is or your vision is. It's very clear there for you. It does take asking the right questions. And I think that's something that's in our culture right now. We're hearing this phrase more and more. We don't even know which questions to ask, right? So find someone who has done this, who has a mission vision training out there for you. Sit in it, take it, do it, and you will come away so much more clear about what you're supposed to be doing. And it just rules out it's so simple because it's completely flexible after you do it. You can still do anything you want, whether it lines up or not. But what it does is it makes a framework for you, kind of like a boundary that unless there's an extenuating situation, you don't go outside that boundary. You just stay right in who you are, what you were created to do, and you do it with your whole might. And that is so freeing. And it's going to help, back to the beginning of this conversation, talking about courage. Once you go through mission vision training and you recognize the incredible gift to the world that you are, just the way you are. I mean, you'll want to step into it. It's kind of like how I got so excited about money, not because I wanted to make more money, but because I wanted to give more money. And so when you step into who you truly are, you're going to get really excited about what you have to offer the world. And it's going to benefit all of us. I mean, we all need you to be full of you.
Thank you. Tell us more about how do you heal loneliness with collaboration, and what does that look like?
So collaboration is just saying, I'm going to take this really great idea I have, and I want to back up, because for those who are listening to me right now, you're looking to either grow your business or start a business or move to the next level or whatever. So you're always looking for the hole in the market. What do you have to offer to the world that somebody hasn't already done in the way that only you can do it? Boy, that's a combination of words right there, right? But it's so important to think about. There's a way that only, Lily, you doing this podcast, there is nobody else that can do exactly what you do with the guests you have on. You pull out information from your guests, from me, from other guests that a different podcaster wouldn't, because they're not thinking about it the way you're thinking about it, right? So as you come to this, you bring your own unique approach to it. That's what you're offering to the world. So you guys listening, it is exactly the same to you. What is it that you want to do, that you have to offer, that there is a hole in the market for that particular thing, perspective, product, service, whatever it is. And once you find that, then collaboration says, I'm going to take this amazing idea that I have, and I'm going to bless as many people as I can with it. I'm going to take as many people up with me. I think about the locks in in the big waters, like the Great Lakes or Panama Canal or whatever, the locks you get inside of that small area and the water takes you up to the next level, right? And everything inside of the lock goes up at the same time. It's not just the captain of the boat, it's the whole boat, that goes up. And that's what collaboration is. It's saying, I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up to a new level here. And I want to take as many people with me as possible. That's collaboration. And then you find the people who are most interested in what you're doing, and you work with them to take it up. So again, it goes back to the beginning of what we're talking about. Entrepreneurship can be very lonely, but if you commit to taking other people up with you on this journey that you're taking to build and grow something, it really reduces that loneliness, and it increases, if I can even use the word family, as you invest so much time and energy, blood, sweat, and tears into this new thing that you're doing. You'll get to know these people so deeply, and they'll almost, they'll be like family to you.
Thank you. One thing that I really enjoy is having fun. And I remember from a really young age, my mom used to leave me alone a lot. So I found a way to entertain myself. And I think that we all have, like you said, like a special gift. And I think for a lot of introverts, it is a hidden gift that only 2-3 people that are close to you get to experience. And sometimes it's not just 2-3 people, it could be hundreds of people, but it really tends to be that only 1 or 2 people get to discover it at a time. How does an introvert get to heal loneliness, leveraging courage, clarity, and collaboration, considering their comfort zone is actually being with one person at a time because they are too scared, you can say, of the attention of, large crowds?
Yeah, I really feel like you just answered the question in the question because you don't have to worry about how big of a group you're with. If you're making a connection with another human being, that will solve the loneliness problem. You can be in a huge group and feel lonely. So it's really the one-on-one connections that's going to make the difference. And as you were talking, I was smiling because I am a one-on-one person. That's my sweet spot. I love to just be sitting one-on-one with somebody. And I never feel more alive than when I am presenting to a large audience and watching light bulbs go on in people's eyes. But both are true for me. I love the one-on-ones. I love the big groups. And introverts, I just want to tell you, most of the introverts that I know, I host womenspeakers.com. There are so many introverts who are Christian women speakers out there, taking platforms, doing the engagement afterward, and then they go home and they rest up and then they do it again. So the only difference, I would say, if you want to get down to brass tacks, the only difference is it's going to take you a bit longer to recover from a large event where you had to be quite engaging for a long period of time with multiple people than it would take the extrovert. The extrovert's going to actually be charged up by it. You're going to be a little drained by it. And so give yourself time and build that in.
Yes, I fully agree. And in fact, I find that sometimes I organize events of hundreds of people, and I need 3 months to recover from that. It's true.
Yeah, it's really, you just have to get to know yourself, actually. What does it take for you? Yeah.
Yes. And what I find is actually I'm very funny. Okay. But not a lot of people know it because I don't show it that much. And I'm still kind of like learning to, share that part of me. But I do find it very funny when people laugh, because I think from a really young age, I really wanted people to laugh. And I was not even worried if they would laugh at me, as long as they laughed. And how can someone leverage their unique selling point, their uniqueness, to build connections faster?
I'm going to dive right into what you said about being fun, because it kind of is the strategy. So when, as a speaker, I want to share humor, I want to tell a funny story right now in my talk, I have to select a joke or a story that the first time I heard it, or the first time I experienced it, made me laugh so hard I nearly cried. I want to pick something that was over the top hilarious to me, when I heard it, so that when I express it, it comes out very fun for the listener. And even though they won't experience it the same way I did at the time, they will experience it at a much greater level than if I just picked something I thought was kind of funny. Do you hear what I'm saying there? So
Yeah.
you're going to, again, lean into your own unique personality, completely lean into that. And however it is for you, that's what you want to do. And people are like, well, everybody doesn't have my sense of humor. And I'm just going to say, I know. But the reality is, people who will be drawn to you, to what you produce, to what you share in the world, will appreciate it. They don't have to have it. They will just appreciate it. And they will appreciate that you're you. Right now, there's somebody, I don't remember his name, there's somebody online that's kind of getting a big audience. And he just sits there. He looks like a dork the whole time. He actually sits there and has his nice smile on his face and looks like a dork the whole time. But he's really popular. People are loving following him. Why would that be? Because he's actually being his authentic self. And his dorky, authentic self is just engaging because he's actually not trying to pretend he's something else. He's actually being authentically who he is. And all of our hearts long for that, and we're drawn to that. So when somebody is really, truly who they are, that is super magnetic. And it helps, going back to the first thing we were talking about that courage. When you can actually embrace who you truly are, through mission vision work, through just doing some understanding of that you are bringing a unique gift to the world, it's going to give you more courage to go out there and to be yourself and to have fun doing it. And one of the things for me is I never ever really try to be funny, but I love to be a fun person. So that's how I kind of maybe pull the fear factor out of it. I don't have to be a comedian, but I get to have fun with every audience I'm in front of.
Thank you. How can I find my tribe? The reason I ask you this is because for a long time I was going to conferences for wealth, and many times I couldn't feel sort of like I integrated, you know? And I noticed, for example, because in 2023, I collaborated with the celebrity Marie Diamond from The Secret. And in her community, there were a lot of healers and psychics and a lot of, alternative healing people. And in that community, I felt like so much love, and there was so much, almost like acceptance, and you felt like you belonged. So it was such a relief to be part of that group where, it's not like I still don't desire wealth. I still desire wealth, but it's almost like you could be whoever you wanted to be, and you felt accepted. And that's what I really liked about that particular community. There was so much love, so much healing, so much kindness, so much generosity. And you would think that in a group that's focused on wealth, you would have that too, but it didn't seem to be there. It's almost like there was nobody who wanted to talk to me in a lot of the wealth seminars. But in other groups that I ran, we had multimillionaires there, and it's like there was a different dynamic where it's almost like the energy was coming from me, and it was like a ripple effect that was kind of distributed, and there was so much fun, so much excitement, and still a lot of business deals that were happening in the background. So how can someone find their tribe that they feel most attracted to? You mentioned a little bit about doing that online, but what else can we do?
Yeah, so I think that what you did is kind of the path to it, is that you kind of have to put your toe in the water and just test some different groups. And what you'll find is when a group is very focused on tactical outcomes, wealth building, learning to do the stock market, whatever, like that. What you'll have is a very, very strategic mindset going in there. And it's almost like having blinders onto the people, because I'm here for a goal. I'm here to get this nailed down because I got to have this, like that. Now, you would think that would happen in the healing environment also. I'm here to be healed or to learn how to heal. But because healing can't be done that way, you cannot do it that way. It requires the attendees of something like that to have a different mindset, because they came knowing that it was going to be the interactions with other people that allowed them to experience healing. And so you're looking for events that I'm going to say are more collaborative in nature. You're looking for groups that's the mindset. And even there are groups of speakers in the world who are extremely competitive. Then you have my group of speakers who are incredibly collaborative, always recommending each other, always, going to the extra mile for one another. So it's really the group of people, even if you have the same exact, we're speakers, we're going to get speaking events like that. Even if you have the same goals, it is the group of people that you're in. And so you kind of have to just experiment with it. But I do think that if you go to something that's extremely tactical by nature, it's not going to be as feely as when you go to something that's, more emotional, physical by nature.
Thank you. What needs to happen on an energetic level, or maybe on a spiritual level, on a faith level, so that you magnetize the right group to yourself? Because, for example, I have found that when I'm in flow, when I'm in like super high energy, then it's almost like I'm not sure if I vibrate higher, or basically like, opportunities come to me, people that are vibrating higher come to me as well with opportunities, and then I get invited to the kind of groups that I would feel most appreciated in. And then the opposite is true as well. What I find that sometimes when I'm depressed or angered about something, then maybe I will get invited to groups where I don't fit in, where I feel underappreciated or ignored as well. So I've kind of gone through both.
Yeah.
So how can someone, what needs to happen like on an energetic level, spiritual level, so that you can be more in alignment with the path you're supposed to have in life?
So I love this. And I teach a class on the power levels. And power level number 4 is when we add passion. So power level number 1 is I exist. Number 2 is I have ideas. Number 3 is I put my ideas to action. And then number 4 is we add passion. And passion is when the vibration gets involved. And you are definitely vibrating like something. If you put a pumpkin seed into the ground, it vibrates like a pumpkin. If you put a corn kernel in the ground, it vibrates like a corn stalk, a corn, what is it called? Ear of corn. And it works to just go there. So we are vibrating a particular way all the time. And when you have a negative vibration, of course, that is going to attract negativity. When you have a positive vibration, that's going to attract positivity. When you go into, I always say, start with the end in mind. So even before I came on this podcast with you, Lily, I thought, how do I want to feel during it? And how do I want to leave? Now, that had nothing to do with you, with what you do. It had everything to do with my attitude, my passion, my preparation. So when you are going into any kind of a meeting or whatever, you want to just set the intention. And the intention can't be, I'm going to walk out with $100,000 deal. You can say that if you want to, but that is such a small thing compared to what you could ask for. You could set the intention that I'm going to have fun. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to share the most of myself that I possibly can without holding back. I am going to look for every opportunity to meet someone new. You can ask really for the bigger things that down the road are going to lead to more than you ever imagined. If it's always about the money, then guess what? You're going to be the group that you went to who didn't have time of day for the people around them because they were there for the money. See the difference? If you go with the intent of my heart is open and I'm just going to receive everything good that is here for me, and I'm going to share everything good that I have to share, it changes the whole thing. It changes everything. So I went to a show recently, and I had never been to this show, and I didn't actually know, exactly if I was in the right place doing the right thing, and I didn't know anybody ahead before I got there, and I was going to go for 2 days, and it ended up I only got to go for 2 hours, and in that 2 hours, because I made the intention, in that 2 hours, I was able to make 17 new connections, 17 individual, one-on-one new connections that were a direct hit for the next project that I wanted to collaborate with people on. So it's in your intentions when you go in and you're just going to kind of, let's say, a non-intention. We're just going to see how this goes. That's a non-intention, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to just see how it goes. You go in and you're like fully open, fully on, ready to share yourself freely and ready to meet as many people as you can. It's going to change things.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
It's really easy. My name, Marnie, Marnie.com.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health changemakers to live your healthiest life ever.